So I've got my iPhone connected to my computer, so you can all see my screen of my iPhone. And within the iPhone, I've got a camera app in the upper right-hand corner, and I've got a Photos app. These two apps work together in the sense that my camera app takes the photographs, and my Photos app stores or is where my photos are housed. So think of your Photos app as like a photo album or a photo box. So if I want to take a picture, I open up my camera app with a tap, and you're going to see my lovely wife, Julie, who's working away. There she is. Okay. And there I am. Okay. So the basics of your camera, and let me just let's point at something that I can take a picture. I've got nothing exciting except my file cabinet here. But to take a photograph, I'm simply going to tap this white button here. This white button is basically my shutter. So when I give that a tap, it takes a photograph. And that photograph is stored in my Photos app. Let's go back to the camera app again. Okay. The key to taking a nice, clean, clear photo is don't push this button. Give it a light tap. We all grew up with, let me talk to you. We all grew up with buttons, okay? Buttons you press up and down and it actually physically moves. But with smartphones, there are no physical buttons that go up and down. So all you need is a very, very light tap, because if you push it, you're going to move the camera and your photo is going to be blurry. So all it needs is a very light tap. That's pretty much it. You can turn your smartphone sideways to take a more horizontal photo, or I can turn it vertically to take a vertical photo. And all I'm doing is just turning my camera from horizontal to vertical. To take a video, I simply tap where it says video. And when I tap on video, you'll notice that the button changes to red. When the button is red, that means you are in video mode. And if I tap it, I'm taking a video. And you can see up here at the top, it actually gives me how many seconds I'm taking. So I'm actually taking a video here. To stop the video, I hit the red button again, and the video stops. That video is also stored in my Photos app. So your Photos app stores any photo or video that you take on your smartphone. If you see the red button, that means you're in video mode. I have worked with lots of people who say, okay, let me take a picture here. So they line it up and they tap the red button thinking they took a photograph, and then they walk away and they put their video maybe on their desk or on their smartphone on their desk, and meanwhile it's still recording. To stop recording, you've got to hit the red button again. To get out of video mode, all I have to do is just tap on photo. And now it's back at white and I'm in photo mode. Now, depending on what model iPhone you have, you may have other choices down here as well. I've got an iPhone SE, which is mine's a couple of years old. But if I tap on square, the only thing it does is it just changes the format, the proportions to a square. That's the only difference. I'll show you the difference. I'll tap on photo, and it basically goes from more of a vertical or a taller frame to a square frame. That's the only difference. And then Pano is a very cool feature. Pano lets you take a 180-degree photograph. So let me see if I can do that here. And you'll see there's a little arrow here. So what I do is I'm going to turn around here. I'm going to tap the white button to take a photo. And then I'm going to just move my camera or my smartphone on a straight line. And I'm just basically turning to a 180 degrees. So I'm just turning my camera and my body. When I'm done, I tap the white button. And now I've taken a 180-degree photograph. So it's much, much wider. This is a really great feature for landscapes, or any kind of outdoor shot that you want to take there, where you're trying to capture kind of a wide landscape. It's a really great feature. The symbol right down here in the lower right hand corner, what this does is it changes the camera from forward facing to rear facing. So if I tap on that, you see me. So this lower button down here in the lower right, that is for taking selfies, I guess is the easiest way to say it. Because on your iPhone or any smartphone, you basically have two sets of cameras. I don't know if you can see me at all, but you've got a camera that faces you, and then you've got a rear-facing camera that faces out. So by tapping on this, all I'm doing is just changing the camera from forward-facing to front-facing. Up along here, you've got buttons to turn on a flash. I basically, and my symbol has the flash symbol with it being crossed out. I basically never use my flash on my phone. In my opinion, it takes pretty poor pictures with the flash, and you really don't need a flash even at night. The cameras are so good at on these that you really, in my opinion, you really don't need to use a flash. HDR, high definition resolution. You also have this live feature here. I have it turned off. I think there's really no benefit to it. This is a timer. So if I tap on that, I can set up my phone on maybe like a tripod or something. And then I can hit 3 seconds. I can change it to 3 seconds. And when I do that, when I hit the photograph, or when I hit the exposure button, it basically counts down 3, 2, 1, and then takes a photograph. You want to make sure that this is turned off, okay? Unless you want to take a timer photo. Because if you don't turn it off, right now it's in yellow, that means it's on. If it's yellow, every single photo that you take is going to count down to 3 seconds. So you want to make sure that that's off. So I'm going to tap on that, and I'm going to choose the off position. And then this one here is a bunch of filters. When you take a photograph, you've got a whole bunch of different, you might not even be able to tell on the screen here what it looks like. Let's focus on me. So if I slide this along, I can take basically different exposures, different filter features. I can make a black and white photo if I want. I don't know if that comes across to you or not on your computers or not. But all I'm doing is just sliding my finger over that. And that is in the upper right-hand corner under these filters. I generally, for the most part, don't really mess with the filters. I just pretty much take the photo that it is that I want. That's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. When you take your photograph, go back up to the camera. These are your controls. The main control is really just the button that you're going to press to take the photograph. But there's tons and tons and tons of photo related apps that you can download for special effects and filters that you can add to your photos. Okay, so I use my camera app to take my photos. To see my photos, I have to go into my Photos app. So I'm going to tap on my Photos app. And I'm currently in the Albums section. If you'll notice at the bottom of my screen here, of my phone, I have 4 sections: Library, For You, Albums, and Search. If I tap on Library, it basically brings up every photo that I've ever taken. And it's just in a whole library of photos. And I can scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll into the beginning of time of when I took my very first photo. So I'm in the library section. I usually go into the album section because lots of times I will create albums and I want to, when I take photographs, I want to put them in specific albums. So you can see here, I've got an album called Wedding. So if I tap on Wedding, these are all my photos that I took during my wedding. So I got married back in June, and I took a whole bunch of photos and I stored all those photos in a special album I called Wedding. If I want to see a particular photo, here's my lovely bride. So if I tap on Julie, there's Julie. If I wanted to delete this photo, there's a little trash can right down here that I can delete the photo. I can take my finger and I can just swipe to the next photo. And all I'm doing is taking my finger and just swiping to the next photo. If I want to go back, there's a back arrow in the upper left corner. I tap on that. It brings me back to all the photos in that album. It says right here, Albums, Wedding. If I want to go back to all my albums, I just tap the back arrow, and now I'm back to all my other albums. How do you create an album? You have to be in the album section, and at the top, there's a little plus symbol. Plus means add. If I tap on that plus symbol, I tap on New Album, and it says, okay, what do you want to call this album? So I'm going to call this album Test 1, 2, 3. So I call the album Test 1, 2, 3. I hit save. And the next thing it's going to say is, okay, choose which photos you want to put in this Test 1, 2, 3 album. So let's say, okay, I want to put all these photos of my car accident photos. So I'm going to tap on that one. I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to tap on that one and 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 that one. That one, that one, that one, and that one. So I've selected 12 photos. I'm going to add them to an album called Test 1, 2, 3. I hit done. And now I have in my album section, I have Test 1, 2, 3. I have my wedding. I have an album called Mom, and so on. You can create as many albums as you want. It's simply a way to organize your photographs. That's all it is.